Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Jumana Damus Salami, Managing Director of Hospitality Services, and welcome to our talk about changing perceptions and what Lebanese influencers and bloggers are doing to promote our country online. This talk is our 9th in a series of 12 virtual talks where we reconnect virtually and rebuild the future of our industry. Lebanon has always appealed to travelers. And while we are witnessing unprecedented changes and challenges, economic, humanitarian, and political, showcasing our country in the right way is more important than ever. And while it is clear that we need to prepare for a challenging summer and continue supporting Lebanon's hospitality and tourism sectors, during our previous talks, we spoke about collective actions and uniting for a better Lebanon. I think we can all agree that is the way forward, the only way forward. Today, we will focus on what's being done and how we can better serve our country. Of course, we look forward to your insights, ideas, and suggestions. And while we cannot come up with all the answers in an hour, we can put our heads together and get the conversation started. Thank you all for taking the time and for being with us today. It means everything. These talks have been made possible thanks to the support of USAID-funded Lebanese Enterprise Development Project led, and we would like to thank them for their trust and support. The session will be moderated by Odema, by Naji Morous, who partnered with us for these events. Thank you once again for joining. Naji, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jumana. Thank you for the audience. I will start by asking each of you to present himself and present his business. Talk about his business model, the media he's using, his target clientele. Let's start by the woman, Christina.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Okay, so I'm Christina Naeem. I have 2 pages on Instagram, Lebanon Eats and Traveling with Time, and I have the website travelingwithtime.com. I share recommendations, guides. I promote cultural awareness in Lebanon and promote tourism in our country in relation to food, lifestyle, travel, and more.
Thank you. Lisa?
Hi, Naji.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Georgian. I am the editor of Lebanon Traveler magazine, and I'm a communications manager. I have been in Lebanon now, I think, for 12 years. I'm here out of choice. I love the country very much. I grew up in the UK, and I'm very passionate about the country. So I started my career in hospitality, and then I shifted to events and publications. So I guess I've always been somehow promoting the country. And I'm really, really happy to be here today. Thank you, Naji. And I'm really excited to have this discussion with the other panelists. So thank you again for inviting me to be with you today.
Thank you. Eddie?
So my name is Eddie Bitar. I'm the co-founder of Live Love Beirut. So I'm very happy and honored to be on this panel with everyone, and I'm looking forward to present Live Love. Live Love Lebanon has been founded and registered as an NGO since 2012. So mainly we have multiple programs that foster people knowledge, love, and engagement for Lebanon's nature, culture, and community. These are the 3 pillars that Live Love works are currently working on, and we look forward to the discussion that is going to take place.
Thank you. Anthony?
I started NoGarlicNoOnions since 2012. The idea is to show Lebanon to the world as not seen on TV, other than what happens on the news. If you watch the news at 8 p.m., you feel like you're gonna kill yourself, unfortunately. Started as a blog, an Instagram account, a TikTok channel, a YouTube channel with more than 2,500 videos. And a national television show on MTV Lebanon with 5 slots every day, all year. Until now, we have more than 500 villages covered in Lebanon, and trying to promote as much as I can. The Lebanon is not seen on TV, and show only the good, the positive, what I always call أحلى بلد بالعالم, 216 million Lebanese around the world and more. For them to visit Lebanon and get a reattachment to their roots.
Thank you. Luca?
Yeah, hi, I'm Lucas Lama. I have actually an engineer background. So I used to be, okay, so I went to France, and I worked as a consultant, financial consultant, and I decided to come back to Lebanon in 2009 in order to start digital business, digital publishing business. So Beiruting is one of our flagship websites. We started in 2009. And since then, we're trying to show the bright side of Lebanon, the nice stuff, always highlight the bright side of the story rather than, talking about darkness and destructions and other things. And I fully agree with Anthony that Lebanon is one of the most beautiful places in the world. That's for sure.
Thank you. Marwan? Sorry,
Hello.
Last but not least.
That's fine with me. I'm Marwan from Yummy Lebanon. I share with my partner, Elish Shidja. We've been online on Instagram and Facebook for like 6 years now. And what we do is always make people drool. We like to promote the food in Lebanon and show the culture of food that we have, the diversity of the food, the places where you can go to, the getaways, the Airbnbs, the hotels, anything that is related to hospitality.
Okay, thank you. So first question, because everybody's talking about the bright Lebanon and the shiny Lebanon. So how are you managing, despite this current crisis we're living in, to always show the bright side of Lebanon? Who would like to start? Maybe Anthony?
Lebanon, as we say, Lebanon is أحلى بلد بالعالم. Lebanon is definitely أحلى بلد بالعالم. And when we say that, it's not only because we have green trees. Lebanon is a package of a million things where hundreds of books can be written. It's the people, it's the welcoming, it's the food, it's the nature, it's the 300 days of sun around the year, it's the 4 seasons, it's 6,000 years of history, it's a million other things that we probably sometimes forget about. Lebanon has passed through hard times, yes, several times, of which our grandparents remember. So imagine 500 years of occupation, imagine the Romans, imagine lots and lots of things, and yet Lebanon is still here. 30 years of war, and Lebanon is still here. And Lebanon is still here because of the resilience of people and because of the belief of people. Khalil Gibran used to say, ask yourself what you did for your country and not what your country did for you. And remembering that you are Lebanese, remembering that you are a proud Lebanese, remembering that you can make a difference. Many say, we hate Lebanon. No, you hate the politicians in Lebanon, and always remember that you elected them. So let's go back to the basics and say, what can we do for our country? And instead of saying, I wish politicians would do, I wish these would do, I wish if Lebanon would become whoever it wants to become one day, ask yourself, what did you do? So when you sit in a position where you can make a difference, the difference starts with you, starts with you implementing, you showing, you putting pictures online, you showing the world, you talking positively about it, you promoting it, and so on and so forth. And this is what makes Lebanon أحلى بلد بالعالم. And this is why today is one single problem out of a million Lebanon has been encountering for the last 6,000 years or plus. So it's our duty to believe, struggle, maintain, and continue for our kids, if not for ourselves and our generation.
Yeah, I totally agree with Anthony. Actually, we have a responsibility. We have an audience. We have people that watch us every day, every single day, every hour of the day. We have a responsibility to show what's going on in Lebanon, other than the political scenes and other than the politicians. I mean, people look up to us, to what we're doing, what we're showing, and not only in Lebanon, outside of Lebanon.
Okay, how do you manage? My question was, thank you, Anthony, and for the I mean, very good vibe.
Sorry guys,
yes.
something.
No problem. But I mean, how do you overcome a situation where you have an explosion, for example, in August 2004? And what do you do? What do you do with your media, with your social media? Eddie, for example. How do you overcome the crisis we're living? I mean, because I guess the bloggers or the influencers are a lot related to the immédiateté, the instant. So what do you do during this crisis?
So basically, I think when we talk about any crisis, they need to have a response, and the response has to come in phases, whether it's your immediate response, whether it's recovery, and then if you have to talk about the development phase. So these are like three phases that are totally different. And when we are in a crisis like the one that we are in today in Lebanon, I think promoting is very essential, but there's something that we never talk about in this country, which is planning and giving the appropriate response. I love what Anthony is saying, and I've been like preaching for the same thing for all the years of like saying that we have the most amazing country and we have to preserve it, and we have. But at some point, I think promoting, which is for me the part of the storytelling, is not enough. We have to move from storytelling to story doing. And story doing is the moment when we start realizing that there is something that have to be done. And I know that each one of us, depending on how he used the power of the media that he has in between his hand, is using his influence to impact our country in a positive way. But at some point, even story doing is not enough. And this is where the most important part in the power of the influence that we have is to become something that we call story living. And story living is actually when you change the behavior. And by changing the behavior, whether it's of the people inside the communities, and making them feel that the actual change start within their houses, within the way of how they are promoting their country, of how they can become good ambassador to their cities, villages, and communities by changing everything in their direct environment. This is where true change can start. And this is how you can overcome any crisis. So we talk about the resilience, we talk about how we can plan it, but at some point there's not proper coordination, not proper communication, and not proper planning to really start putting all our efforts towards one objective and one goal. And this is what is needed now. And planification is the key for any problem and common problem that we are sharing all together, to come up with a common solution and make sure that Lebanon is back on track, and that we're using our influence to really communicate and share with the world how we can sell Lebanon as a destination, and as a good destination to bring everyone to our country.
Lisa, how can we plan what Eddie is saying? How can we have a program? Who's working on the program? Because we have a lot of independent people here. We have NGOs, we have bloggers, we have website developers, but I mean not developers, I mean owners, but we don't have a plan. So how can we plan it? What is it to, how can we plan it?
I think this has always been one of our biggest hurdles, to actually drop the ego and learn how to work together. And I think this is very important, because I have no doubt that we are all passionate about the country. I mean, it's obvious, you know, it's clear that whether it's food with Anthony or with Christina and actually Marwan, or whether it's like showing the hidden gems of Lebanon, like Eddie's ambassadors do, or we do at Lebanon Traveler, we're all doing our bit, but it's actually the collective action. And what Eddie was saying was absolutely right. This requires planning, this requires coordination, this requires a team. There are a lot of young, talented people in the country who still believe in the country, who still have hope for the country. And I don't think this is, you know, like a pipe dream. I don't think Lebanon's rising or the brighter days of Lebanon are a pipe dream. I think that we can achieve it, but it's going to require a lot of hard work. It's going to require a team, a very clear objective. And as Eddie had said, it's planning and organizing and actually sitting around a table and agreeing and not putting your own agenda or your own ego before everything else, because ultimately our country is what matters. We don't matter as individuals. This is how I see it. So that's, you know, my point of view.
Thank you. Luca, do you see something different?
No, it's exactly the same, like as Eddie said and Lisa said. So when we come back to the destruction, for example, the explosion of the 4th of August in Beirut, we tried our best to show, the bright side of it, like highlighting, for example, the solidarity of Lebanese people, of Beirutis, how people are helping each other, rebuilding their city that is completely destroyed, rather than just show destruction and these kind of things. So in every single story, there's a bright side and a dark side. So if we highlight the bright side, it's always we are giving a message of hope and optimism. And this is what is needed in Lebanon right now, because, Anthony said already that there's something magical about Lebanon. So I personally have traveled really a lot around the world. And really, believe me, if I tell you that there's something special about Lebanon, and I cannot say exactly what it is, whether it's the weather or the personalities of the people living here, or the traditions, I don't know, but there's something really particular, and people that lived outside Lebanon knows that. And that's why plenty of people that used to be here and left Lebanon, they think about just one thing, coming back at one point. Why? Because there's something that is so special here that they will never find it elsewhere. And in order to keep people here, the resources that we really need in order to rebuild the future of Lebanon, then we need to give this wave of optimism and show the bright side of Lebanon.
Okay, we'll come back to the plan or the program, Eddie, later, but I would like to ask the food bloggers, Marwan, Christina, Anthony, do you work on a specific, program? How do you choose your restaurants or your type of food or your villages and all that stuff? I mean, do you have a program for that?
I don't think we have an actual program that we follow for where to visit, but it depends on who speaks to us. For example, sometimes people actually approach us individually and ask us to promote them or to help them out on Instagram. So we use our platforms for that as well. Or nahna, for example, we see, there isn't many people featuring this village. So we go and we feature this village. We feature the getaways, for example, in the area, where to go, where to eat. Things you can do in that area. If you don't find this stuff online, for example, maybe we can tackle it.
Yeah, technically, what I do is I go out and check for small local businesses that are not known, that don't have this huge branding that nobody knows about, but they have that local taste, that little thing that nobody knows about. And I try to make small emotional videos so that people can relate and go try. It's just to help the local businesses. But I would like to go back to what Lisa was saying, if you don't mind. It's about getting the people together. That's the biggest challenge that we, I think, face in Lebanon. We cannot bring the people together. The plan will come along, but you have to make people sit together on a table and agree on something. Because I think the major obstacle that we have as a Lebanese is our ego. That's what stops us. I mean, yeah, because everybody loves Lebanon, but everybody wants to save Lebanon alone. Nobody wants to share something with the others.
Okay, let's pretend that, okay, let's put the ego aside and let's pretend that you all want to meet. Are you meeting?
Yes, I'm meeting.
Guys meeting? Are you collaborating together?
Yeah,
Are you doing things
personally,
together?
I'm collaborating, for example, with Christina. I'm collaborating with Life with Jad. He's not with us. Yeah, he is. Okay. So we're going a lot of places. We're promoting Airbnbs, we're promoting hotels, we're promoting restaurants, we're promoting venues, we're doing hikes, we're trying to connect people together all around. So yeah, we're trying to collaborate, but it's not easy with everybody, you know. Each one of us has a vision, and it's always the ego that comes and blocks the path. Everybody wants to do it on his own, his way. Nobody wants to really, I mean, you know, do it together, hand in hand towards one goal. That's it.
And it's also another issue, scheduling wise. Some of us actually do work full-time غير عن influencer activities. So sometimes it's very difficult also to collaborate in terms of our schedules, unfortunately.
Anthony, you have something to say about that?
Yeah, so back to the question. I believe Lebanon has hidden gems. This is very important. And Lebanon has very, very humbly has taught probably the world and all the region the real meaning of food traditions, the real meaning of produce and so on. So when you say Lebanon, you say more than 100 plates on one single table called meza. So it's all about sharing, it's all about freshness, it's all about greenery. When you say Lebanese food, you say more than 70% of the dishes are vegan naturally. When you say Lebanese, you say the real flavors and good taste of things coming from all around the villages. So this is something very important to focus on and talk about. And then comes Lebanese traditional recipes, more than 200 recipes done in all the villages of Lebanon with all the housewives, all the houses. And this is very important to look at. And these put us together. Again, another hashtag we always use called لقمتنا بتجمعنا. So after lots of things, probably we do not agree on many things, but put everyone on one single table. I always said, if you can give our ministers and Nuwaib 120 plate of hummus, I believe they would unite. So anyway, so the Lebanese food is something very important that we can focus on, and it has been copied and replicated by many. And the beauty of this country is that we probably didn't invent anything, but we took from all the neighbors and upscaled it to a different level. And this is something very important. So starting by our tourism, which is very important, starting by our culinary heritage and culinary tourism, which is very important. So focusing on empowering people, empowering chefs, empowering not only business owners and big brands, but empowering the little hidden gems. And most importantly, rethinking and keeping it in mind, try to be the social media channels of people who do not have social media channels. You go down on the roads and you see advertising of manaish and burgers and so on. And these people are getting richer by the second. But think of the little small gems in the villages who do not know what social media is, do not have Instagram accounts, and do not have Facebook accounts. So us as people with social media power, I would say, need to support these little businesses and be their voice for them to grow and continue and sustain, and especially in these hard times.
Eddie, when you say we want to a plan or a program, and we hear the expression of love towards Lebanon here in everybody's words, we hear the words of ego. And we heard the program that you talked about. What do you have specifically in mind when you say program or plan? Do you have you thought about that as an NGO?
So let's basically what's happening today. If we look back to Greece in 2015 used to have 21 million visitors before the pandemic, and then in 2019 it grew to 31 million. Those 31 million tourists that came to Greece made the result was an increase of 25% of the GDP in Greece. It was like 25% of the GDP was directly affected by, and the recovery that they had economically was due in some part to the huge work that they did on the touristic approach. What could save Lebanon is the touristic industry. However, we have this tendency of saying our country is the most beautiful country in the world, and our country is very well known everywhere. But actually, we're not asking the right question. And it's not a question that you need to ask for some influencer, including me. Usually, this work is something that has to be done in the government. In the government, you have a Ministry of Tourism, or you have some offices. Like, imagine that the biggest country of the world in terms of tourism is France, and they don't even have a Ministry of Tourism. However, they have some very good institution that used to work on setting what they have as destination. And this is where having a right policy that is called like under destination making, and having the right structure, having a DMO, which is a destination management organization, and DMC, which is the destination marketing centers, that knows exactly how to map and to understand what do we have in terms of offering in this country. How can we package Lebanon to different target audience? We have this impression that everyone knows Lebanon. This is not true. We have to start understanding that people do not know this country, where it is located. The biggest spenders and consumer in terms of the tourism industry, whether if we want to look at the States or even Europe, and the tour operators are not coming to Lebanon. This is even before the pandemic. And like after the pandemic, we can become this hot destination where people would be interested to come in. Number one, you create cluster. You understand what you have in terms of offering and what are the infrastructure that we have to do. We don't have like guest house was a trending, and Airbnb helped a lot in getting more and more.
Let's come back to DMO. When you say DMO, what do you mean? Are we creating a parallel board of trustees of touristic? We put, actors, pillars of the tourism industry. Where did you find this idea? Did you take it from another country? Are you thinking about something in particular to be more pragmatic and useful?
I did not create anything. DMO is something that is is a term that is used in many countries just to sell a destination and to have a committee. And it has different types of organization. It could be a public-private institution and having committees and coordinating among all the stakeholders, whether it's the private sector, the public sector, like the hospitality industry, and all the stakeholders. They can have like represented, and usually it's something that have multi faces. So it depends on how you want to do it.
It's a kind of association or a kind of board of trustees of touristic institutions.
Yes. And if we want to make it easier, let's call it like a sort of committee, in order not to go into like all the governance of getting like new laws and new things. Because in Lebanon, before the Ministry of Tourism, we had the CNT, which is the Conseil National du Tourisme, that then transitioned and changed into the Ministry of Tourism. But so far, and we have so many syndicates, but no one is properly working or coordinating the workflow on how we should be selling Lebanon. And each one has his own agenda, and it's totally normal. We think that we have always ego issues or anything, but at the end, everyone has to protect his own interest. And we're not all aligned on the same strategy. And we're not all aligned on putting our interest aside and to see how we're going to sell the destination point. By selling the destination, everyone will be happy. Everyone will get a piece of the cake by just making sure that every region is getting its own like cluster with its own like offering that it might have to offer. And then by doing this full mapping, which is very easy on a country that is less than 10,000 square meters, so you can exactly know how you will have like different target audience and to sell them whatever that you want. So I gave this example of the guest houses because usually like a small guest house can affect the whole rural economy and really help in having more resilience in our villages or anywhere. But you need to have the right infrastructure, and you need, like, especially in time of crisis, this is the best time to invest. This is the best time to make like project for you to really for us to stand on our feet and to start rising for hoping that prosperity will be here. But we cannot just wait and say that people will come to us. We have to go get them. We have to create like campaigns. We have to invest money online, let's say, in their countries. So there are so many tactics today in the world today, and influencers are very important. Like having influencer and using influencer in different countries is something that can get you and grab a lot of attention and grab the right kind of people that will come to your country regardless the situation and the whether it's economical, political instability or anything. You'll still have some kind of people that will come even when the explosion happened. Imagine that 2 or 3 weeks later, all the Airbnb of Rahayel were taken from so many foreigners that wanted to come and to participate in what we call voluntourism, which is volunteering and helping the people that were affected in the blast. So there is always a kind of offering that is related to the crisis that we're facing. And we need to learn about that. And Lebanon has so much to offer and a huge potential, especially now with the devaluation and the economical crisis that we're in. Lebanon could grab, and maybe like Lebanon will rise from its ashes just because of the power of the tourism industry.
Let's take this idea of collaborating all together and creating like a committee. Lisa, would you like to? I'd like to hear some reaction about that idea. Lisa, would you like to react?
Yeah, I think I'm here. Listen, we have always, with Lebanon Traveler, we have always been very vocal about offering a platform for anybody who is passionate or wants to write or wants to contribute photographs or has a story to tell, that we have provided that platform. So it's inherent that our vision, if you want, or our mission is to offer this space for stakeholders to interact, to talk about their regions, to talk about things that interest them. So I'm all for collective action. I think it's the only way, honestly, it's the only way forward. I think it's a little easier said than done, but I do think it's feasible to do it. I think Eddie's points are, you know, something that's actually rigid, a robust system that actually can follow through, because we also have an issue of accountability. We need to know that what is being promised is actually going to be delivered. So if the focus is to promote Lebanon and to talk about these aspects of the country, then we need to be very sure that it is being done in the correct way, the right channels are being used. So yes, if the question is, are you for working together? Absolutely. I don't think that we can achieve what we want to unless we do that. But I realize that is a challenge in itself. So I hope, you know, we can find a way to do it.
Luca?
Yeah, Naji, I'd like to come back to what Eddie said about DMO. It's very important to have them all around Lebanon. So it's actually a structure, as he said, it's a structure that put together all the stakeholders in order to promote a specific destination. So let's say, for example, if we create a DMO for Beirut, for example, we'll be promoting all the landmarks of Beirut, or the regions, everything that is related to this specific destination. And if we take the French example, for example, in all villages in France, even the smallest one, we always have Office de Tourisme. And this Office de Tourisme's mission is actually to promote this region or this destination with all the activities that a tourist can do around. So,
yeah, but this is public. The Office de Tourisme is public.
It's a public
institution.
Yes, but it is a structure that is public, but his mission is actually to promote this destination in order to, you know, guide the tourist when he comes. Bloggers and influencers are doing a great job, but it's not enough when people come to Lebanon, and especially if they want to visit regions that are not really extremely famous, then they need to go somewhere in order to have more information about the activities that they can do in this region or in this village, about the hiking trip and trails, about all the ruins that they can visit.
But the Minister of Tourism tried to do that a few years ago with Live Love Lebanon when they started this campaign in 2012. And
yes,
you have, for example, the Jezin. If you go to Jezin, you see the whole,
what is done in Jezin is excellent. And I think that what is done in Jezin should be actually done all over Lebanon, because this is how we can promote a specific region rather than just, talk about Baalbek. But when a tourist go to Baalbek, he can visit the ruins, but he will not know that there are way more things to do there than just visit the Baalbek. That is extremely, it's a beautiful place, but I mean, we can guide him in order to visit other things there.
Marwan or Christina, you have something you want to react?
No, actually, I agree with Luca. The more we have, if you have one plan, it has to be segregated for all regional municipalities. If you have a small offices of tourism in all municipalities that we can coordinate with and have a one way forward, promoting food, promoting the venues, promoting the regional tourism, promoting the خلاص طلعت من راسي. Promoting the area, the culture of the place, everything. Yeah, we should have small offices to do that.
Okay.
It should be part of a major plan.
Okay.
Can I?
Please.
After what happened in Lebanon, especially the crisis and the explosion, and before that, millions and millions and millions of dollars are being invested in Lebanon from international organizations, of which USAID, UNDP, and so on. The Germans, everybody's investing in Lebanon nowadays. So there is something coming, and this panel is promoted by USAID and so on. And you all know how much effort is being made, is being put in that industry. On another hand, if you tour around the villages, if you see the cooperatives, if you see the agriculture kitchens, if you see the Moone places, all of them have been supported as well by the international organization, and yet things are continuing. As Lebanese, we've always said we should, and we need to stop saying we should do. Back to the same thing we started with, ask yourself what you did for your country and not what your country did for you. We cannot say whenever we want, why not dawla, and then say خلي الدولة تعمل. So we cannot choose whenever you want to support that ministry or that government and say, where is the government? And then say, okay, but we do not believe in this government. So accordingly, I believe very honestly, very straightforward, one thing would finalize all our issues is start working all together on stopping the news in Lebanon. Because with all the positivity we're putting and all that positive vibes will spreading around the world, and our travels and our social media effort and our investment in YouTube videos and so on, and then you watch the news at 8 p.m. and what you see is something very dramatic, zero positivity, all of which negativity, and you say, what the hell am I doing in this country? So accordingly, we will meet definitely, we will gather together definitely, we will join forces definitely, and we are indirectly without seeing each other every day. But something is removing all that effort in a split of a second, and let's all together put our efforts together to stop the news, one, to stop putting whatever negative pictures about Lebanon on social media, وننشر غسيلتنا لبرا. And this is how we can start focusing on the tourism. Tourism today, since Lebanon has started doing Moone, since Lebanon is producing more, since Lebanese are thinking outside the box, since we're planting wheat, since we are doing a million other things, and you cannot imagine how Lebanon changed positively the last year. So what we need is more tourists, more people to visit Lebanon, and probably promote Lebanon as a cheap country if you have dollars and so on of things. And accordingly, these tourists will buy Moone and buy our stuff and buy everything, and yet we will put Lebanon back on track. and we can do it without saying always لازم وين الدولة, because there won't be any in the near future.
Just to clarify something, there's a difference between a lot of independent actions like you're doing today. All of you are working, each of you are working to promote Lebanon. The idea was, how can we unite, how can we collaborate all together, besides the public institution, besides the ministries, to draw, steps, I don't know, a roadmap, or things, or a kind of collaboration campaign on a product, on a destination as the brand Lebanon. That was the idea. Do you think this is doable, or it's too complicated? Lisa was a little bit discouraging on the
We are indirectly. We are indirectly. I remember in 2012 when Instagram started, everybody put everything and whatsoever on social media, and then we learned from each other, and we learned to promote differently. We learned to take pictures differently. We learned to fly drones over Lebanon. We learned to use social media in a different way. And yes, we are working together indirectly, without having that national college or national meeting. And yes, we are supporting each other. Having a magazine we're buying is a support. Having a video people will watch is a support. We are indirectly supporting Level of Beirut with all the initiative he's doing, and helping in Beirut. We are indirectly helping each other. The most important part is that we reach a certain point where we're thinking the same, and this is very important. So along the way, since there is no more government, and we are trying to make a difference, and every one of us feels the need of paying back for this country or making a difference in this country. Yes, we are uniting indirectly, and we will find a difference soon. So accordingly, all of us are talking today about bloggers, influencers, tourism, but I'm sure every one of us is doing much more, way much more in the background, with their jobs, with how many followers we're getting to people, with how much more work we're getting for all of the accounts we're promoting, with the support and the work Eddie is doing in Beirut, and so on, with the magazine that it's still publishing, even though the country has been collapsing in several things. So accordingly, yes, we need نوقف ننشر غسيلتنا لبرا. That's in Arabic, and we will see a huge difference overnight. Ask anyone around the world, would you come to Lebanon? No, I'm scared. Scared of what? Scared of what? Of the news. Scared of what? Because we taught them to be scared. Scared of what? And then you explain, come on, you would pay 10 times less, Lebanon, check these videos and so on, and then they would say, yeah, sure, why not? And we were talking before, companies are now hiring from Lebanon because it's cheaper, because we're telling them to do so. So we need to start by letting the world feel safe about Lebanon, and then we will change the world.
Naji, could I say something?
Of course.
I'm following on from what Anthony was saying. So in 2018, the BBC actually came and did the travel show here, and we were invited to be part of it. And AD, who was the presenter, one of the questions was, how can you show Lebanon in a way that people will want to come when people's perception is a war-torn country? And you know, the war ended in 1990. So people's memory is that. They don't have, a lot of them, what we were saying before, that people don't know Lebanon like we know it. And it's our duty and, you know, our responsibility to actually show them the things that they don't know. And I think that this is very important, that we need to be pushing out that positive stuff, but also highlighting to people that might not know that we have waterfalls, or we have sinkholes, or we have, you know, whatever it is. Lebanon really does tick all the boxes. I don't think that there is a single tourist in the world that would not be able to find something that they enjoy doing in Lebanon. If you're into partying, you can do that. If you're into water skiing, you can do that. If you're into eating, you can do that. Whatever you want, this country offers it. The main problem that we have is the stability factor, the fear factor. people worried about, you know, when the Commonwealth Office says, don't go to this area or don't go to that area, whatever. These things create fear, create panic. But ultimately, we all know that there is, you know, like they were saying earlier, there is no country in the world like Lebanon. And I stand by that. I have lived in Europe. I've traveled an extensive amount, and I'm still invested in the country heavily. And I do not intend to turn my back on it on a personal level and on a professional level. We have a responsibility towards our country. We have to do what needs to be done to get the tourists to come here. And believe me, when they leave, they go back and they wax lyrical about the trips that they have, because it remains in their heads. They can't shake Lebanon out because they are so, you know, they're so taken by it. So I think that this is special. You don't have that feeling where you travel everywhere and you want to go back and back and back. So Lebanon really does have a unique appeal, and we need to work hard, and I think we can do that, but we need to change that perception and highlight all the wonderful things that can be done that are not obvious, I think, as well. I think this is quite important.
Najee, one more thing, if I may, just thank you so much, Lisa. That example of many countries around the Middle East, probably all of them, and that is not called, how would I say it? This is called democracy. You cannot talk negatively about your country. You cannot say whatever you want about your country, and how we reached in Lebanon of saying whatever you want, however you want, is bad. So let's start by that point. Two, let's remember something. A tourist coming to Lebanon passes by, when back then they said there is a bad smell at the airport, passes by the airport for 2 minutes and then goes in. He doesn't care about the details. A tourist in a country lives in a hotel. He doesn't know if there is electricity or not. A tourist coming to a country doesn't go into the little tiny details with all the mess we are living in. And this is a passing story which would be ending very, very, very soon. Doesn't know about all these details. So we do not have to tell him about these details. We're not giving him an image that is wrong. We're not polishing our image. We're not saying anything wrong. We're saying Lebanon is the amazing country with books about it. Yet we've been to countries, I've been to 42, many others have been to many others as well. And let me tell you, I cannot live outside Lebanon more than a week and come back to that amazing country that where my heart pounds every minute I reach the ground. So accordingly, we need the tourists. We're not telling them something wrong. We're telling them, come discover our country and leave with your opinion. And I've received many international bloggers and magazines and TV stations and you name it of shows, probably 2 dozens for the last 10 years. And all of them leave crying at the airport and saying, we've been places, but yours is the most beautiful and the most majestic of all. So please, all of you watching and many commenting and so on, start by asking yourself what you are talking about it. Stop talking negatively about it. Stop spreading negativity about it. Stop thinking, you know, that you have, I would say, a solution while saying negative things, and start asking yourself, what would you leave for your kids? And many people ask me, why are you doing what you do for the last 8 years? Aren't you losing your time? Go, you're a doctor, go do whatever you do. And my answer is, I'm leaving a legacy for my kids. I want people in 10, 20, 30 years asking my kids or asking me, what did you do? What did you leave for your country? Or my kids walking around say, our dad left something very important about it. So that's a call to action to everyone. Let's start somewhere, and then we can do a miracle.
It's very political, very philosophical, what I'm hearing from everyone, from Lisa, from Anthony, from Eddie, Marwan, Luca, but let's go back to your businesses, to you. I mean, your blogs. Do we do things differently in Lebanon, or do others outside Lebanon do it differently in Europe, in the States? Do they have blogs or I don't know, websites or promoting their countries differently, or do you have an idea about that, Eddie?
Okay.
Marwan wanted to talk. I don't know. please.
Now, I wanted to say, I don't want to be the only one talking. Let's remember that we are one of the smallest countries in the world. Let's remember that we are very happy and proud about what you have. Let's remember that we all know each other. Let's remember that we don't have a government and we need the country needs us. Exactly. So this is why we do it differently. This is why we're not 400 million. This is why we are a little tiny village like in Egypt or in the States or in Canada or whatever. So yes, we do it differently. We do it with passion. We do it with love. We do it from the heart. We do it to make a difference. Yes, there are millions of social media people around the world. I believe we do it differently in our own special way. And that's what the world loves.
Hadi?
Naji, I want to go back to your previous question. So we're always going from the assumption that anyone and everyone in the world knows Lebanon, because for us, Lebanon is at the center of the map and at the center of the world. We have, if we want to build a true and a realistic policy to bring tourists to Lebanon, because mainly the tourists that used to come to Lebanon in the 90s and in the year, the 2000 year, which was like the golden age after the civil war, were mainly Arabs. These are the people that came from Saudi Arabia, from Kuwait, and they invested heavily and bought even houses in the mountains, and so on. But at some point, we have to understand that we're not in the middle of the world, and everyone knows about Lebanon. The only two things that are known from Lebanon, Lisa said it, like it was the civil war, and now we've become famous for this huge explosion that happened worldwide. And this is, this is like what I'm going to say is it was good and bad. Like what happened is really bad. There's no polemic around how to say it, but at some point we got the attention of the world. Like everyone knew that something happened in Beirut, and like it brought affection, it brought love, and we have to build on it. We have to turn this explosion into something that will bring back attention to Lebanon. Trust me, someone that is sitting in the States, someone that is sitting in Australia, someone that is sitting in China, if they know where Lebanon is, trust me, they are not seeing LBC, they are not seeing MTV, they don't know shit about our country. They don't even know barely if it exists. So if we want to bring those tourists and we want to make it to become an international destination or not, I'm not talking of mass tourism. I want to talk about a sustainable tourism, like tapping into the communities of hikers. Like we could keep talking of ecotourism and sport. Today, having trails and having like family trails again and marketing our trails to the whole world could bring us a new kind of clientele. Getting youngsters and people and hipsters to come to Lebanon, this is where we have to position ourselves. This is how we have to market our destination. We don't need campaigns. We all are doing it. What we need to sell today is to tap into new markets. And in order to tap into those markets, we have to have a strategy. We have to have funding. We need to have things that this is where we need to.
What are you doing for this strategy? I mean, are you working? Are you inviting your colleagues? Did you start collaborating on something, or is it just a project?
I will be honest, this is not my responsibility. You're asking me how can you be the Ministry of Tourism and set such a strategy, but I will tell you, because I do believe, and what Anthony was saying, that we don't have to wait for anyone to bring it to Lebanon. What we managed to do is at some point when you were in the States or anywhere and you ask where's Lebanon, you didn't even have a reference or a visual reference to say this is what Lebanon looked like. Today was the work, whether it's Anthony, Live Love, or any kind of influencer that it's working, you have, thanks to Instagram, a visual reference. If you have a friend and you want to show him how do we eat, how do we live, what are the things that we can do in Lebanon, you can tell him follow this account and see what are the activities that you could do. And trust me, I'm sure that each one of us have been confronted to a situation where someone at some place told us, you know what, I came to Lebanon because of your pictures. I came to Lebanon because of what you do. People are looking for experience. People do not see how they are going to travel on the news. People doesn't care about the political situation in Lebanon. It's just the Lebanese and the Lebanese diaspora that are affected. So number one, yes, I totally agree with Anthony. We have to change the perception with the Lebanese diaspora. They are our first ambassador, and they are the ones that are not always selling Lebanon as it should. So when we change the perception for the Lebanese themselves, whether it's internal tourism and internal demand, we saw that big trends since 2014 changed in Lebanon. And this was because of social media. People started to find new places like Anfe. People who started going to Jazin, started to go to Akkar, to Amoua, to new places they never heard of. So this is number one. You change the perception with the Lebanese, then you change the perception with the diaspora, and then you need to have a plan. And this is where we need to invest money by going first, like to exhibition, like the one of ATB, like the one of Berlin and other London. You have to be in those touristic exhibitions to sell Lebanon. And at the same time, you need to know what to sell and how to sell it. But this is not enough. This is the traditional way. Now the new ways and the innovative ways is to be really maybe bringing influencer from other parts of the world and to really show them with our local ambassadors, with people like Anthony, like Christina, like Marwan. And we can take those people and we can show them around with Lebanon Travel. We can show them what Lebanon looks like. And this is how we can convince other people to come to Lebanon. So this is where we need to use whatever happened with us this summer, whatever is happening with us in our country, to change the whole mood, the whole dynamics, and to put Lebanon on the map of the international touristic map of the world. And this has to be prepared now. The pandemic at some point will hopefully fail and finish, and Lebanon has to be positioned in the first place to get the biggest attention from all the professional in the domain and from all the people that are looking for alternative tourism, for something different, for something new, and they are all on social media. And this is how new trends, and you were asking about how other governments are doing it. This is how they are doing it. They are bringing consultants and people to tell them how they are going to create campaigns and how they are going to sell the experiences. Lebanon in itself is an experience. We don't want to say we have the best country in the world, we have the nicest. Every country could say the same. This is not how you brand a country. This is not how you sell it. You have to sell it for the substance. You have to sell it for what we have to offer. And we have so much to offer. So the right campaign is to show them the experiences. We want to show them that they are the cool people. He can go to the snow and then he can go and do some see at the same time. This is what we're doing currently in April. I have friends, I have people. So we need to bring an influencer and to show him that in 30 minutes he can be in Mzar, and at the same time he can do anything in Jbel or in Juni. This is what we have to show. We have to show what we stand. We have to show the hospitality that we have, the food that we have. And I think every one of us is a very good ambassador. But you need to start the
collaborating with the foreigners, for foreign influencers. Do you do that? Marwan or?
Well, that's what I wanted to say. Actually, it is our responsibility, but we have to start. I mean, I started already, but as a food page, as a food blogger, I'm limited to.
Tell us more.
I reached out, and I reached out to local bloggers because you have to start somewhere. Okay, so I reached out to, like, for example, Beiruting that I'm collaborating with. I reached out to Life with Jad. Why? They are lifestyle. They have a different pool of followers. I have a lot of followers that are from outside of Lebanon, but I'm only showing them the food, which is very important. It's nice, but I want to show something else, and I couldn't do it alone. So I reached out. That's the whole point. I reached out to Jad. I reached out to Beiruting, to Christina, and we're doing a lot of things together to show a bigger portion of Lebanon.
Give us examples. Give us examples. What do you do
let's
with
Christina,
for example?
With Christina, she just shows a different angle of certain food shown in a different way in her style. But we both shows the food. For example, like when we go with Luca or Wujad, we promote an area, we promote a region. We show the nature, we show the food, we show the ruins, everything. We talk about a lot of things. We take people on hikes, we take people on trails. We take people on getaways, and we do a lot of vlogs. You can check. We have the Jazin vlog, and next week, for example, we're doing an event in Jazin. So this is how we start locally, And since our platform are Instagram and Facebook, we are seen outside. We have a lot of people seeing us outside because we have international followers. But we need to be, it's not sufficient to be just 3 or 4 bloggers doing this in Lebanon. We need to be more and covering more areas. And I think we should do themes like we sit and agree on a theme to do each month, let's say, or a region or a certain kind of food or a venue that we all promote. So it's like, we're hammering in a marketing way to show a specific thing. That I think will give a great result outside.
I think Eddie made a good point, by the way, about COVID eventually is gonna close. So when people are open to travel, Lebanon will be a great place to go because of what's happening with the inflation, etc. So for people to come, they have more spending power in Lebanon. So if we're ready for that, once the borders are open around the world, our tourism can boom big time. So if we combine our forces together, we do, let's say, as Marwan said, an area by month, and we all cover it. We cover it on all our platforms, lifestyle, food, in all aspects. And we create, let's say, a platform where people can go and see all the guides that we've created on our different platforms.
Okay, I'm sorry, I need just to explain the poll. So we're having a poll now. The audience can answer a single answer or multiple. So what aspect of Lebanon do you think is most important to promote to foreigner this summer? Is it heritage and culture? Is it nature and rural areas? Is it beaches and coastal areas? Food and culinary tradition, or affordability? Okay, so please answer. And because everybody's saying that Lebanon is now cheaper, but I don't know if this is a good sales argument. Sorry, Christina, yes.
Yeah, no, I'm done. That's all I have to say.
Okay, so
something actually that people are moving, tourists moving from, like city tourism. Are you hearing?
Yes,
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, so people are, tourism in general is moving from the city tourism, landscapes, etc., to something that is like more nature and rural friendly. So people are keen on discovering new places, new hiking trails, for example, like the ones that we're covering with Marwan and Jad. And this is something that people are searching for, because people are really sick of cities and they want to go out, discover new places, new traditions, and
that's a question I need to ask you all, and I had that discussion with Eddie earlier today. I mean, isn't it a double-edged weapon to promote a gem in the mountain of an area that is unknown, or a fantastic restaurant in the Akkar, or if you promote it, won't it be, I mean, you attract the mass tourism and it will be destroyed as the gem it was? How do you work on that, Eddie?
So one more time, Anthony won't be happy because he will tell me that we have to do something and not the government. But this is back one more time back to governance. So it's not the responsibility of anyone promoting, whether it's influencer or not, to preserve a certain place. So today, if we're promoting the beautiful Lebanon, nice landscape, a nice site or anything, it doesn't mean that this is our responsibility to put the right governance and the right management on how you're going to handle the influx of people that are coming to this place. So we can take an example of the reserve, the Shuf Biosphere Reserve, where they have 100,000, around 100,000 visitors, like for the past 2 years that were coming inside the reserve, which is already a bigger number than the capacity of. It's over the capacity of what they should be getting inside the reserve, and we started thinking of how this traffic could be used to take it to the village around it, and having all the ecosystem to be like يستفيدوا, to be like really عم بيستفيدوا من هالعالم اللي عم تيجي لعنا. So today, when you have the right governance, the right local authorities that are setting the right policies and that are trying to think of how they could be managing their destination and how they can have this problem to get more people. This is a good problem to have, but this is the problem of the local authorities to do it. So at some point, there are many pictures that I was asking with the team myself if we should post them, because we didn't want for people to go and to harm it. You have like whether it's Belua Bala that became like a destination. Like 10 years ago, no one knew about Belua Bala. Now you have like thousands of people that are going there, and I'm not sure that it's managed as it should. So today, sustainable tourism is the key, and it will create the right fair amount of prosperity that will be fair and equitable. So it will be like fine for everyone to have a part of the cake in the best way possible. This is what Lebanon needs. We need to preserve our gems. We need to make sure that we're marketing them in the right place, and at the same time to have the right governance system that is preserving what we have. And having 10,000 of people going to a place is a very good problem to have. This means that there is traffic, that we created whatever we want, and so many people, because of Anthony, because of Christina, because of Luca, because of all the people that are like just promoting those places, are getting insane amount of requests, whether it's the Airbnb, the destination. So this is what we call destination making. We made it. Now we have to make it in the right way that would be fair and good for all the people that could benefit from this, because like if we don't manage it, then we will kill it, and no one will get a piece of the pie from the business.
I would add, thank you, Eddie. I would add to that it's a lot related to the person itself, and lots of things we've done to Lebanon is our issues, us as Lebanese. So when we promote anyone, something, a small business, a small foreign up in the village, there is the Shib'an, I'm not sure how we should say it in English, that person that is self-satisfactory and calm and relaxed and happy with what they have, they would stop at having that same shop and giving you the same exact flavor and giving you the same exact quality. I can give a small example, like Ricor in Baskenta, you would wait for 3 hours for your manouche, and yet that Ricor won't open 10 other places and doesn't want a franchise. On another hand,
never has anything left for us anyway. Every time I try to go, I never actually tried it, by the way. It's
go at 7 a.m.
He closes so early.
So on another hand, look at the big franchise. 30 places selling mnaish, 40 places selling burgers, 60 places selling whatsoever. So accordingly, because one was famous, and yet we need to cover all the Lebanese territory. So yes, Eddie, what you're saying is 100% right. Someone needs to take action. But on another hand, us Lebanese need to know our limits, to support each other, to help each other. When one opens a nice manouche place in the village, 1 week after, you have 10 other manouche places next to him. If one opens a fuel station, you have another 500 fuel station on the same road. Because if my friend succeeds, I should open the same. So diversity and change, and again, that word in Arabic, I hope someone can translate. واحد يكون شبعان would bring back the economy.
Right?
We have much more to say, but time is running. So I have Jumana has a couple of questions from the audience.
Elisa Cortas is asking, why not bring international influencers to raise visibility? I think Eddie answered the question. You want to add something on that? Eddie?
Many came.
This is a very good point.
Many came and still are coming, and we are in contact with them. Eddie will continue. And again, what they say, and I've been with 3 or 4 in Jordan, I've been with 3 or 4 in Dubai, and the same discussion comes back again and again. Is it safe to visit Lebanon? So yes, we will bring them, and they are happy to come here when we stop saying bad things about our country. And one told me in Jordan, he looked at me and said, when you Lebanese talk negatively about your country, how do you expect us to come visit? So please remember that. When we speak negatively about our country, how would you expect someone foreigner to come believe in us? So we need to start building trust.
Thank you, Anthony. Laura Lahoud is asking, you said we should build on the solidarity feeling for Lebanon after the explosion. I wish we could get together and ask a big communication agency to make a beautiful ad for Lebanon and put it on CNN, for example, for free to attract visitors. I'm not sure we can answer this, can we? Anybody has an idea?
Again, I would say, and we know, and Eddie knows, and we've been in contact with them. Hundreds of millions of dollars have been sent to Lebanon on small scale or big scale containers from all around the world, from all around cities of the world, and a lot has been done. A lot has been done, and still USAID has a huge $200 million invested this year in Lebanon. UNDP is doing the same, and so on. So I believe enough is being done. We need to centralize the effort and show them back that yes, we are worth the trust, instead of promoting to get more.
I have a question for you guys before we wrap up. Very specifically, we're 3 months before summer. What can be done to bring tourists / maybe diaspora / maybe people around us to come this summer so that we don't miss summer in Lebanon, so that we support our industry? Can Anthony, Eddie, the rest answer us? I think
Marwan, Luca, Christina.
Well, actually,
that was our discussion.
One by
that
one.
was our discussion the last. Okay, this was the discussion the last hour. If we all have problems at home, keep them at home. We all have problems with our salaries, keep them at home. We all have problems with the supermarket, keep it at home. We all have problems with the schools of kids, keep it at home, and start promoting on your social media channels Lebanon as not seen on TV, Lebanon as not seen on the news, Lebanon that a tourist would want to see. And when they come here, we will take care of them, I'm sure, and lots of people will take care of them. And this is how we can reboost our economy, from restaurants to tourism to shopping and so on and so forth. And yet, hopefully, and everybody is expecting to have the best summer ever.
Eddie?
We're 5 days away of the 13th of April, which was known as symbolically with the bus of Ain al-Rimmani. So I believe we have to take Anthony, Marwan, and 10 other influencers in the bus, and we can have 10 international influencers that are coming to Lebanon, especially like now, like in the current situation. And what we will do is that, like after the civil war, we had more than 400,000 people that died. What we can do in commemoration to all these people on this day is to announce that we'll bring this summer for 3 months, hopefully, and if COVID will allow us, but this is not a big problem. We'll communicate on all social media that we want 400,000 tourists this summer. And I believe that it's not far to be reached if we really work with all the diaspora and the people, and maybe we can save summer and we can save part of this economical burden that is being very heavy on all the Lebanese shoulders and the people that are working in the industry. So maybe if we have this campaign up and running and having like a continuous tour with the bus with all the influencers, whether it's the Lebanese or the international one that are being hosted, this could be a very good campaign, tangible, clear.
Do you all agree we can move forward?
Yes. We have the bus. We have the bus. Vivian is with us. Vivian, who has the double red, double decker bus in Beirut. So yes, probably she would give us the red bus, which was one of the most beautiful things that happened to Lebanon. And unfortunately, it was not discovered properly. When you go to a city, the first thing you do is take that double decker bus and tour your city. And in Beirut, we couldn't focus on it, so probably she would support us and we'll do it.
Okay, I'm
Thanks,
not sure
Eddie.
if she's with us, but yes,
She was.
awesome.
She was.
Yes. I think I'm not sure if she's there.
Can I just say something? Can I add something as well regarding the type of tourists that might be interested in coming or we should be targeting? I think, listen, millennials, everyone talks about millennials, and we need to know that they are, you know, a quarter of the world's population are millennials. I've sensed that millennials are a lot more proactive. They're more gung-ho. They will want to be traveling again. They might not be as concerned regarding COVID. They will be back on airplanes. They will be traveling again. And these, you know, people are looking for immersive, authentic experiences. It's all about experiential travel. And Lebanon offers that in abundance, actually. So I think it's very important that we convey this. I think it's very important to target millennials. I think that they are very curious travelers. They're very interested in what we have here. But, you know, it all goes back to what we were saying earlier. They don't know where we are. They don't know where Lebanon is or what it has to offer. So we have a very clear target market that would, whether they're backpackers, because again, we need to be targeting different segments. But I think that we really, really do need to look into millennials and to push Lebanon as a destination that offers immersive, authentic, off the beaten path experiences.
Thank you, Lisa. Can we bounce on the idea of doing something united for this summer?
Yes, we should. Yes, we should.
Totally.
And we should really ask people to stop talking bad things about Lebanon, because it's not safe to come to Lebanon. It is super safe. And on the contrary, people will enjoy it because of, you know, the Lebanese lira that is like extremely low right now and compared to dollars. And I think that this point that used to be really used to harm Lebanon, because Lebanon used to be seen as very expensive, extremely expensive country, is no more here. So let's stop discouraging people of coming, because sometimes I go on Facebook groups and I see people discouraging tourists and students from coming to Lebanon. And this is really extremely bad.
Thank you, Luca. Naji?
Yeah, so for our question, so what aspect of Lebanon do you think is most important to promote to foreigners? The winner is nature and rural areas, which is quite, beaches are, actually beaches is the least successful, and coastal areas. Food is also very low. I don't know what you need to do. Anthony, Marwan, and Christina, you have worked. Heritage and culture is number 2, and affordability is quite impressive. I mean, the price.
Actually, I think that's what we should do. I mean, the winner is which one you said?
The winner is number 2, which is nature and rural areas. Can you see the result on the screen? It's 40%. It's on the screen.
Yes.
Okay, but this is what we should do. I mean, promote rural areas.
Yeah,
that means those areas are not promoted well. But you said food coming low. That means food is promoted pretty well now.
Mm. Okay, you're right.
I agree.
Yeah.
Can we wrap up?
So we should focus on rural areas and hikes, trails, and nature. Okay, that's perfect. That's good.
I think we need to focus on screening. We need to focus on screening.
More.
So thank you all for participating and listening to that webinar. We have a lot to say. I think we should maybe schedule another one. I had many more questions about advices to youngsters, how to build your own, blog, what to do, what area should you tackle, what should we do like others outside Lebanon. But I mean, we had a very good discussion. you concluded that, I mean, you expressed so many times your love for Lebanon and showing also always the bright side of it, which is great. This is, everybody's doing that. I mean, Jumana at Hospitality News or us at Odema, this is always what we do. Also, we discussed collaboration. We did not get to a result, but a lot of good energy and promises to meet or to discuss any further steps. And I think that's it. Joanna, would you like to?
Oh, thank you, Naji. Thank you all. We took an extra 20 minutes of everybody's time, but loved the positive energy you all shared. The talk will be available on hospitalitynewsmag.com as of tomorrow, and 3 more talks are left, so make sure to register and be with us for the upcoming ones. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.